So now, with Swither, we're going to talk about the much-awaited comeback from Sonoshide or Girls' Generation with their song Forever One. Let's do it. Okay, Swither, how you feeling?
We're all one, you know.
Yeah, I guess. I guess we are.
Just like a love bomb.
Well, me, T, and Moose are all one at the moment.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
okay, so in the chat, I saw T saying that it felt like it was flat. And that touches on my point about the song, which is that entry into the chorus, the right before the chorus hits. You know, it's like a semitone down from what you would expect. It's kind of like a dissonant. No, it's not what you would usually choose to introduce the chorus because it does put it like it makes it feel weird because it's a note that's kind of out of the key, and then this very normal, big uplifting chorus plays after, and it
Mhm.
does add a kind of interesting effect. I like it. I mean, they kind of had to do a safe, normal song that and they had the "Into the New World" "Ding Ding Ding" playing at a couple points during the song. So it was supposed to be just like, you know, let's feel good forever. 15 years, we're still doing this shit. I mean, stuff. I'm sorry. Um,
You can swear on this show,
and
don't worry.
and it was, but I mean, that is kind of like what I expected from the title for it to be really normal and feel good, but then because it's SM, have some little interesting musical element, and I think that delivered on that. It's definitely not one of my favorite SNSD titles, but uh, I rock with it, and the album. More importantly, the album. I mean, really shocking listen. They put what's the name of the song? You Better Run. It's like track
I
3 or
hated that
something.
song.
It's so
That's the
bizarre.
one
Oh
song I
my god.
remember from the album because I hated it.
Yeah, it seems like the sort of song that would inspire a lot of people to be like, ew. But
Yeah, it's
it's
nasty.
so cool. I mean, like the rhythm of the and like the pitch slides and stuff. It's just a crazy
It's
fun
cool if
song.
you want more Esper, but not if you want SNSD.
Well, and it's tying up some nice loose, well, not loose ends, but like uh, from the what's the name of it? Devil Run Run.
Run Double Run.
The no, their old title track.
Yeah, Run Devil Run.
Yeah, Run Devil Run. I said Devil Run Run. um, yeah, I mean it's kind of like it references that 10 years later, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you still better be running, devil.
Yeah, but you can't just give it a reference and expect me to love it, you know?
Well,
Girls'
no,
Generation
that's the
are who
thing.
they are because they had
That
amazing songs and they were like incredibly talented and they led the industry. This just ain't doing that. This is like
I
a basic ass song with some fucking horrific vocal production. Like, whoever did this, lose your job immediately. What are you doing? How do you make people this talented sound like shit? Like, oh my god. It's just, whoever's doing the vocal production at SM needs gone. And they need to get
it
whoever's been doing vocal production for, like, some of the other groups to get in there, because this is not it.
it does sound very clean, a little too clean, perhaps. Like
No, that's
cleaned
not the
up.
issue. That's not the issue. I want it to sound clean. It sounds like muddied as fuck. Like they have this horrendous, they've like massively upshifted like a vocal with the chorus, so it's like really unnatural sounding, and it's really, really high, and it like hits just the point of your ear for you to be like, no. Like, you probably got, like, you always like to say that I'm like that vocal coach on Girls Planet with
Yes,
my finger in my ear going. You probably got a
exactly.
lot of shots of that while we were watching this, because this is fucking horrific. Like, it's one of the worst jobs I've ever seen, at least recently. Like, I just don't know what they're doing at SM anymore. It's so poor. How do you make Taeyeon sound bad? She's so good. I'm
Yeah, I
just
mean,
mortified by it.
the reason why I said clean is not because I meant like cleaned up in the sense that I feel like they did
Inhuman.
somehow with the vocal production try to make them sound more similar than they are,
Mm.
like uh, which might be a mistake because one of the best things about liking them has been seeing how different they can grow to be, and I've just been obsessed with Yoyeon since deep, 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 and it would be nice if their different vocal qualities shown through had shown through more than before, but I think they wanted to just they wanted to make it sound like safe in a lot of
Mm.
ways.
Yeah,
But
I just, oh my god, just I would have rather they didn't have a comeback than this, to be honest. It's
okay, chill, come on,
they
chill.
are because they're such an integral part of my love for K-pop, right? Like, Girls' Generation are really the first group I got properly into when I became a fan. Like, I was bumping Oh, Run Devil Run, Hoot, Flower Power, Paparazzi, all this shit was part of what made me a fan of K-pop, and they come back with this half-baked, terribly produced garbage, and I'm supposed to be like, oh yay, my girls are back. No, it's shit.
Because anybody can fucking do that. It's shit!
Call it what it is. Like, ever
I
since
mean,
they dumped Jessica out, they just haven't been the same group. Like, they've been going downhill
whoa,
ever since, in my opinion. They don't feel like a big deal anymore to me, which is really hard to say for a group that I love
whoa,
this much. I have,
my
like,
God.
intense love for a lot of these people in this group, but man, it's just not it. This is just not it.
But so you listened through the album and really
Yeah,
nothing was popping for you?
pretty much.
I don't know. I liked a lot of the
Some stuff
songs.
was tolerable, but it wasn't anything that I was going to immediately add to my playlist. It's not like when I'd
Yeah,
listen to their albums back in the day and go, Jesus, this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing. This is like, nothing was like that. It's just the magic is gone.
okay, well, I mean, that might be a little bit. I don't know how universal those opinions are, but
No, they're not,
I
because
was,
everyone loves it online. Like, they're all talking about how much they love it, but this just isn't
yeah.
doing it, man. You need to come with better than this if you're going to pretend to be Girls' Generation.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it holds up a lot of what they stood for and brought to the table, and the fact that they would have a song as genuinely bizarre as "You Better Run on It" was really impressive to me. And then a lot of the other songs are really a nice vibe. Paper Plane, Closer, uh, and then yeah, the Obi Klein, the guy that's done a couple Luna songs. I love him. He wrote. He had a writing credit on 17. That song's pretty nice. And then Villain was apparently written by primarily Tiffany and then some Sooyoung. And, you know, it's pretty good. I mean, I believe it after seeing a couple of their variety appearances and promotion of this. You know, I don't know. It's really cool that they would have two members. It sounds like really thoroughly write one of the songs and for it to come out pretty good.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, also seeing them on those variety promos was great. They're so hilarious at this point just because of their decades of history with one another, and yeah, it was just I've been enjoying this whole cycle.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure the variety stuff's great. I just refuse to, like, try and be hyped about this. I think it's pretty clear, right? I love them too much to accept this, but like, I just, part of me is just depressed that this is what newer fans are going to see as Girls' Generation, because a lot of people
eh,
weren't there for, like, the height of them being the best when they were, Genie and G and all this great like Mr. back in the day, like all this stuff when they were at their height, and now they see this. It's just this mediocre, terribly produced summer song, and like that's not the legacy you want, you know.
I mean, if that's what you're thinking about it, with like it tarnishing their image somehow or whatever, like if anything, this will just because it's the 15th anniversary and they haven't been active as a group for a long time. If anything, it's going to get a lot of people to go look back at stuff. You know, I mean,
they aren't going to like it because it's so different from this. You know,
I don't know.
This ain't going to be what they want. I'm part of it, to be honest. Like a lot of the time when these like iconic old SM groups come back and they don't put out anything good, I'm just happy that my favourites got out of there before this happened. You know, I'm just glad that FX never decayed like this.
Well, decay. Come on,
this is a decay.
Language is too much.
You went from Mr. to this in like under 10 years. Like, come on.
Mr. did rule. But yeah, like I mean, I am not a thorough fan for sure. I was Girls' Generation was a little bit before I got into all this, but and as a result of this, you know, I ended up going and I realized that I had never seen or heard Paparazzi because it's not on streaming. And boom, I heard Flower Power and Galaxy Supernova, and those are great.
Fantastic.
But yeah, they don't have the Japanese singles on streaming for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, and that's me who's like really into this, and this cycle made me go back and realize that my I was not all the way up on what they have done. all the great songs that they put out in the past.
Too many great songs from SNSD. This is not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a peak, but I definitely am not going to co-sign the narrative that this is like this travesty, decay sort of. No, I mean, like it's kind of it's a reunion song that was safe in most ways, and then they backed it up with an album that, I mean, at least I think is really pretty solid, and the promo for it was pretty great. And yeah, because they're I didn't get into them for a while. I wasn't really apprised to the Jessica stuff, but like, what's your interpretation? What happened with that?
Well, there's no real way of knowing exactly what happened with Jessica, but you know, one day she was part of SNSD. They filmed the "Catch Me If You Can" video with her in it. Then she had to go and do a couple of things for her business, Blanc and Eclair, and then she was told to leave. Basically wasn't accepted back in. That's what we hear anyway. They didn't want her to have conflicting schedules because of her business, so they just kicked her out. And then,
yeah, I mean,
ever since then, it's not really. Their music has been a lot worse. Ever since Catch Me If You Can.
In my cursory Googling, it seems like the story might have been a little bit more weird than that. But as with almost everything in K-pop, most of the important things happen deeply behind the scenes, and the messaging that comes
I'm sure
out
it's messier than how it sounds, but yeah, it was not good. And it probably doesn't help that she was my bias at the time. But yeah, I just... Ever since then, like, I think people have undervalued how important her voice was for their harmonies. Because ever since then, their harmonies don't sound how they should. There's something missing. Because that was what was so special about them back in the day, was like their harmonies sounded incredible. But not so much now.
I haven't heard enough. I should look up a bunch of live harmony clips. I'm sure they have killed it in the past.
Yeah, they got some ridiculous lives, like Jesus Christ.
But Jessica's Crystal's older sister, right?
Yeah.
Was that like part of? Or were you just getting into FX off the songs, or was that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, the reason I like the groups I like is just because I like their music, and everything else comes second. But yeah, I mean, Crystal is my favorite person ever in K-pop, so that probably helps. But part of that is just I really like the timbre of both their voices. They have like this really particular timbre to their voice, which is like really warm and like really kind of comforting sounding. But yeah, that is missing from GG now, and it doesn't sound so good.
Well, I mean, I think this is a really positive thing overall, even, regardless of the song, just because it's like, it's so cool that a legendary girl group would be able to go and promote after 15 years. It is a shame that it's not nine, but I'm really happy this happened. It made me feel really good
Hmm.
when it dropped. I had a little alarm that woke me up, and I was like, "All right, it's SNSD. It's
Yeah.
2009 or something."
I mean, my buddy Zozo, who we were talking about earlier, she was like so hyped for it. She was like the whole time we were at MIK, she's like, "I've got my alarm set for it. I'm buying the album. I'm getting this." Like she's the biggest So One you'll find. But yeah, she seems to like it. So I'm glad that some of the So Ones are enjoying it. But this ain't doing it for me.
I hope they do another round of merch because I want an SNSD shirt just because their aesthetic is great. But yeah, and then in the music video, I just want to say that near the end they had the slow mo red carpet scenes, and the way they achieved that effect was really pretty good. I don't know, that felt like the most impactful moment in the video. Just to think the number of red carpets they've been on, the amount of promotion that they've been dragged throughout the past many years, and then they're looking amazing and still doing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, no doubt they still look great. You know, Yuna's still looking like a model all these years later. Yuri still looks fantastic. The only thing I'm a little bit sad about is it's like obvious a couple of them have had loads of surgery and they don't really look like themselves anymore. But other than that, it's nice seeing them back.
Yeah, I mean, solid in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I probably don't. Again, I'm not the best person to represent SNSD because I was never a devoted fan while they were most active.
Hmm.
But I'm I was down with this. It's not. Yeah, it is not one of my top SNSD singles, but it is not the travesty that you seem to be making it out to be. I think.
Okay, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I've
thanks,
probably
thanks for.
slandered it enough by now.
Well,
uh,
your show is called Diggy's Dungeon, so if you're not bringing some of that, then something's going wrong.
yeah,
So,
I'm not doing my job if I'm not bitching about something.
yeah, we gotta get some emote of the Girls Planet vocal judge.
Yeah, once I have emotes, we gotta make one of that guy's face, definitely. But yeah, this is
Yeah.
the chat seems to be split. Some people think it should be free to go. Some people think it's a night in the cells. I'm leaning towards short sentence or life in prison. But that's mostly for the
Wow.
producer. I mean, to be honest, writing wise, this song isn't that bad, but the production is so awful that I just want to put it further down.